everybody, Merry Christmas, and welcome to another episode of Kharma's Card Reviews! Today, in Christmas spirit, I'm going to be reviewing the Theory11 Elf deck, which I received as a Christmas gift from my dad and his wonderful girlfriend. They also gifted me a Beetlejuice Theory11 deck and a Bicycle Nightmare Before Christmas deck, which I'm really excited to do reviews on in the future. Also, I saw that Theory11 released an elf puzzle that looks very similar in style to their card deck, and that's something that I kind of want to save up for, and that would be a really cool video idea for next Christmas, so be on the lookout for that. To spread a little bit of holiday cheer through my YouTube channel, I decided to dress up for the occasion, so I got my wonderful head bandana, as I like to call it, which I got from Claire's, and I got these wonderful little bow earrings, which I also got from Claire's. I got this wonderful shirt that says "'Tis the Season," and I got this from Target. And I got this Jingle Bell necklace that I received as a gift, also from my dad. So I'm excited, and without further ado, let's get right into the review. First things first, let's take a look at the box. First things I'm noticing is the green foil that really adds to the texture of the box. It's really shiny and sleek and just makes everything look really nice. It really makes the designs pop. They have the elf font directly off of the movie poster, but instead of the L, they have Buddy's costume. They perfectly captured his little fluffy frills and the pattern on his suit, as well as the tights and his shoes, which I think is so cute. Plus, they have so many little callbacks to the movie, like that little caption on the left that says, "A short story of a tall tale," because, as you know, Buddy, growing up, was the tallest because he lived with elves. And I also love that they say, "Love Buddy," on a cute little gift tag. That kind of reminds me of, the scene where he gifts his father lingerie when it says, "for someone special," and he doesn't really understand what that is supposed to mean. Plus, I just love the candy cane and mint symbolism in this. I like that they didn't just use green and gold everywhere, but they used a lot of red and white stripes. You can see that it's kind of candy caney on here on the sides, but also those circles each have a little peppermint swirl, and even down here at the bottom too. And of course, in the back you can see New York City, which I just think looks very, very nice. Plus, each of the little symbols have little callbacks. Buddy's signature hairstyle, his hair, and his pointy hat. You can see some maple syrup, which he likes to put on spaghetti. And the little narwhal that says, "Bye, Buddy. Hope you find your dad." I just love, love, love the front design of this. Turning it, we see the side view, and we see that it has Buddy sneaking off, probably up to no good. And the font, which they got from the beginning credits, which I really like. The other side is similar. And the back of the box, we have that little sneaky pose again, as well as the 4 symbols. And we have Theory11's logo right there. And it's symmetric, which I love. We love to see. I just think that this looks wonderful. It looks gorgeous, and I think that this is everything that an elf Christmas deck should be, because it has everything from the movie, which I really, really like. And I think that's spaghetti in the center there, which I think is just really funny. It looks kind of like spaghetti with sprinkles, if you can kind of look at it closely. We have our Theory11 stamp, and let's open her up. Alrighty, so after carefully peeling the stamp open, I'm ready to open up the deck and see what we got. Already I'm seeing the inside of the flap has the iconic quote from the movie, "Don't be a cotton-headed ninny muggins." And the inside of the box returns with that red and white color scheme. Looks very elegant, which I really, really like. They could have gone a very cartoonish route with this, which they definitely did in some regard, but I just love that they also made it very elegant too. Here we have the back of the cards, which mimic the back of the box. The colors pop, definitely. I mean, on the box, it's kind of hard to distinguish, what's dark green and what's light green, but the ink print on the back of the cards definitely did a really good job of that. You can definitely see the contrast between these dark hunter greens and like that light, bright, vibrant green. We're looking at the Joker. And we see the angry raccoon from the movie that Buddy approaches and asks if it needs a hug. Those are both of the Jokers. Now, I'm not seeing anything that distinguishes which would be the black and which would be the red Joker. They are both identical. And on to the suit cards. So, we have the Ace of Spades. And it's Buddy scrunched up in there. He's in a cute little pose. Aww. He kind of looks like he's trapped in a snow globe almost. And, of course, it says playing cards. And it says finely crafted in the North Pole. Oh, that's adorable. I love that little callback. Ooh, we have our two. And I am noticing right off the bat the font that they're choosing to use, which I really, really enjoy. I love that cartoonish, fun-loving font from the movie, and I'm really glad that they implemented that into the cards. And they have kind of a North Star, it looks like, in the spades, in the center. It's kind of like a dark gray. Kind of reminds me of the North Star. Okay, I'm seeing that the 3 and 4 are similar. Skipping ahead to the Jack. We have Miles Finch, which, from the movie, is this successful children's writer played by Peter Dinklage. Personally, I think the funniest scene in the whole movie is the one between Miles Finch, Peter Dinklage's character, and Buddy the Elf, Will Ferrell's character, and they're in the conference room, and Will Ferrell calls him an elf, and he's like, he's an angry elf. And then Miles Finch is all like, call me an elf one more time, and puts him in a chokehold, and Buddy the Elf is like, you're an elf. I think that's like the funniest scene in the whole movie. I love it. Ooh, okay. Now we have Walter Hobbs, which is Buddy the Elf's dad, his assistant, I want to say Deb, and she is a sweetheart. You know, Will Ferrell gives her so many compliments throughout the movie, and it's just so sweet how kind she is to Buddy. One of the quotes that I remember from the movie is Buddy says, like, Deb, your smile is so nice, it should be on a greeting card. And I think that is so sweet. They perfectly got her hairstyle and, you know, the printing press's logo. I really like that. And the telephone, because she's a receptionist and assistant. I think that is well done. I really like that they included her because, you know, she's not necessarily a major character. Ooh, we have Walter Hobbs's boss. And he's not very nice because he wanted Walter to come in on Christmas. And it was like, jeez. Our Ace of Diamonds is the narwhal. And I love that the mosaic pattern that they have for the diamond, it kind of looks like stained glass. And I just really, really like the colors that they chose. It looks like they have like a deep red, a dark green, white, and a dark gray as colors in there. And I think that's really nice. Plus, the narwhal is like so funny and goofy and cartoonish, and I just love him. Ooh, okay. We have a different pattern for these. If you can see it, it's red diamonds with green slash marks through it. Kind of like a nice diagonal pattern, kind of going back to that elegance thing that I talked about earlier. So we'll skip to the Jack. Aww! And we have the snowman that kind of acts as the narrator of the film. I love that. They got his glasses, they got his perfect like jolly demeanor. I love that. Now the thing that I'm noticing is a little bit difficult is in the movie, they're kind of like claymation style, and so it's really hard to translate that to cartoon style on the cards. As you might see, let me get that narwhal back up here. They do definitely look more cartoony than they are in the movie, which I think is really hard to translate. However, I can immediately tell who each of these characters are, and so that says that Theory11 is doing something right with their art, because I'm able to recognize that this is the snowman. You know, his cane, his little suit, vest thing. Yeah, they did really good with this. Our queen, we have the reporter. I remember there's a funny scene in the movie where this little kid, which is Buddy the Elf's like half-brother, is going on the news trying to tell everybody Santa's real and this is his book. And the reporter's like, yeah, right. And so the kid finds her name in the giant book because it says, like, what they wish for most. And he announces hers on live television. And it's kind of funny, kind of embarrassing for her because her one true wish is, like, she wishes her boyfriend would just come in already. I think that's really funny. Ooh, king, of course. Who would we expect the king to be except Santa Claus? I love that. And this is the real Santa, unlike the one in the mall that Buddy rips the beard off of. The other king, Walter Hobbs. And, as I mentioned earlier, that lingerie scene where Buddy gives him lingerie because he doesn't really understand that for someone special doesn't really mean your dad. So we got that. That's just such a funny scene in the movie. They got his expression perfectly. And since his, like, office, when you look at him, his back is, like, towards the window of New York City, I kind of like that they added the snowflakes in there to kind of emulate that, too. To emulate that there's, like, a giant window overlooking the city behind him. Our queen, of course, is his wife, and we have her with her classic spaghetti. And I love this scene because you can see that she's holding the spaghetti in a Ziploc bag. And that's because Buddy the Elf, he, like, made her lunch for the day to try and be nice. And he put leftover spaghetti with syrup in a bag. And she was too nice to say no, so she took it with her. Our Jack, I kind of figured it was going to be him, but this is Buddy's half-brother. In his classic oversized coat and beanie. I always thought that he looked so goofy when I watched this movie. And the snowball, we can see his snowball in his hand because him and Buddy get into a snowball fight, and that's when we learn that Buddy the Elf learned a lot of skills at the North Pole, including how to make like 1,000,000 snowballs in 5 seconds flat. It's so good, and it's such a funny scene watching Buddy the Elf, who's like this really nice character, absolutely pummel kids with snowballs. It's great. So we have him. Ooh, we have our clubs. And this, we're going back to the color scheme of the spades, because this has black with dark gray, except we're using the pattern from the diamonds, where it's like that stripy diagonal design, which is really nice. I'll skip ahead to our ace of clubs, and we have more of the little winter wonderland creatures from the North Pole that say goodbye to Buddy when he leaves. That's really cute. I love the polar bear and the penguin. They're so cute. And like I said, these characters are claymation in the film, or something like that. It looks like claymation. And I feel like they did a really good job at capturing this, because that's exactly what the penguin looks like. You know, the two eyes and then like the kind of like beak on the side of his head. So I really like how they did that. And I love the design they used. They used a different color scheme than they did for the diamonds, because with the narwhal, it was like red and green. This one is like green and white and black, and I think that looks really, really nice. Plus, it's good that they did that because it eliminates any confusion. You know, at first sight, if you see any red on the card, you're going to assume that it's like a red card, either a diamond or a heart. So I really like that they kept that simple. Our King of Hearts, which I think is so fitting because this character definitely has the biggest heart of all, is Buddy the Elf. We have a candy cane in the back, and we have him pouring syrup on spaghetti. I love that callback. That's another like really, really funny gag in the movie that I really like. He's just a goofy character, and he lists off like all the elf food groups, and it's something like candy canes, and I think syrup is one of the food groups, so of course he has to add that to his spaghetti. Our Queen of Hearts, I'm so glad that they included her in this deck, is Jovi. Jovi is a worker at like a giant mall, and she meets Buddy because he's dressed up as an elf, and she's forced to dress up as an elf. And they kind of bond, and they have a really sweet, or creepy, depending how you look at it, scene where she's showering, and then he starts singing with her, and then they kind of like have a cute little duet to Baby It's Cold Outside, and I think it's really cute. One of my favorite scenes is when Jovi and Buddy, when they go and see the giant New York Christmas tree. I just think it's so spectacular, and I love seeing the wonder in his eyes as he's never seen a tree that big before. And Honestly, that's kind of on my bucket list ever since I watched that movie. I want to go to New York during the Christmas time and see the giant Times Square Christmas tree in real life. That's always been so cool ever since I watched the movie, and that's definitely something that I want to do someday. Our Jack of Hearts, we have Buddy's adoptive father, kind of, Papa Elf. He kind of serves as a mentor, a guiding figure for Buddy, you know, and he never gives up on Buddy. He never makes Buddy feel ashamed for being the only human in, you know, the North Pole, and he definitely helps Buddy a lot through his journey. Plus, at the end of the movie, they return to Papa Elf, and Jovi and Buddy live with him and have a little baby. Ooh, our hearts look really cool. I'm kind of excited. They have like a peppermint type texture going on here. They have the red and the green, but they're kind of like swirled like peppermints. I love that. I think that looks really, really nice. We have our Ace of Hearts, and we have our final claymation creature from the beginning of the film, which is our walrus. Now, I kind of like that they returned with that color scheme that's on the diamond. We have the red and black and green, which I really like. We have some ad cards at the end. We have this one that says, "Treat every day like Christmas." It has Buddy on it. I love that. And the back is the back of the deck. And we have this other ad card, which kind of mimics the front of the box, just without the green background. And back of the deck. I think those ad cards look really, really neat. And I like that they kind of went more in detail on the New York cityscape behind him, too. If you couldn't tell already by how many times I nerded out about the movie Elf and how many references I was able to recognize right off the bat, Elf is one of my favorite Christmas movies. I would say my top 3 Christmas movies, in no particular order, are Elf, Home Alone, 1 and 2, really, because both are great, and Jim Carrey's The Grinch. Those are like my 3 favorite Christmas movies. They're so funny, and I love them, and I grew up watching them, and those are like the peak Christmas movies, ones that every single person has to watch at some point. So this made me so happy unwrapping this on Christmas Day, seeing that I got an Elf deck of cards, and plus from Theory11, which is a very prestigious card company, and they're known for doing great work, and they do not disappoint. Overall, I would say that this deck lived up to everything I expected it to be. I loved all the references, even like the really kind of more niche ones, like the raccoon. I love it. I love it all. I think Theory11 really outdid themselves with this one. I don't think that I have a single complaint. I love the art style. I love the references. I love that they went for cartoony yet elegant. This is definitely probably #1 favorite deck. I love this so much. Be sure to keep your eyes out for some new videos I'm working on right now. Soon, I'm going to do my Beetlejuice card deck review and my Nightmare Before Christmas card deck review, so be sure to stay tuned for those. And I'm currently in the process of making an Animal Crossing Lego stop-motion film. It's going to be really short, probably a couple minutes long. I have another one on my channel if you want to check that one out. I'm really proud of it. I'm currently in the editing process of my new one, so be sure to stay tuned. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!